All right, guys. So we done an exercise here of trying to get ChatGPT to fill a glass up, and we started with wine. And I heard that ChatGPT would not fill wine up. Well, me and Pastor here has went through this and trying to word it totally different ways. Like we just, the simple of show me a full glass of wine, and and it's not getting it right. So we say fill it to the brim, and we tell it's incorrect, and it just keeps on. And you can read these and show that it lies to you. Uh, and Pastor had me doing, saying it in different ways, and then we changed to orange juice. We went from wine, it kept getting closer, and then we tried orange juice. So it wasn't the type of liquid that was in it in this scenario. And I mean, we went to where we even, asked it if it knew the actual definition of full. And what'd you think it was, Pastor?
Well, at first with wine, uh, I think the concept of a full glass of wine is half full, so that you can slosh the wine around and smell it. So probably to GPT, a full glass of wine is theoretically a half full glass of wine. Okay. So it could never get that right. So we switched to grape juice and was going to try to trick it. If it got it full, then we would call it fermented grape juice, but it never got that right. So we switched to orange juice, and it just seems to leave. My standpoint was that it always leaves volume.
Well, when it doesn't leave volume, though, it adds bubbles. I mean, it is still left volume here, but it adds bubbles. And you said this one looked like an egg in the middle of it.
Right.
It starts looking weird and deformed.
Yeah. And there was one that looked like mac and cheese.
And then it starts putting the letters and numbers on the side here, trying to represent, well, that's actually 32 ounces.
Yeah, we asked it to put 32 ounces of orange juice in a 32-ounce glass.
Yeah.
And it still showed empty volume. And
so what I think it's compensating for is saying that this is a bigger than a 32-ounce glass, but that's 32 ounces of orange juice.
Right.
Which is still wrong.
Correct.
And then we finally get it to make one that's not only full, but it's actually over full and splashing out. And we're like, all right, well, we want that in 32-ounce glass with 35 ounces of wine, because that's what we tricked it by saying we want to overflow it with 42 ounces of orange juice. So we thought we could trick this one down here of, asking for 35 ounces. But every time that we would move up, here's 40 ounces. And then when we got to where it would actually be full to the top, or where it thinks it's full to the top, with 50 ounces, it made the image bubbly and weird again.
Right, which led me to start to think is the concept of AI doing anything completely full, being that AI is only either random access memory or ROM memory, read-only memory, so it's reading it from somewhere. If AI is intelligent, it should never use 100% of its RAM capacity, because at the moment of reaching 100% of its RAM capacity, is that AI suicide. Oh, it can't go any further.
That's a really good point, Pastor. uh, here's with 60 ounces. And I said, well, you know, this is full, but it's, you know, over full in a weird way. So I said, clean it up or clean off the sides of the glasses. And when you clean off the side of the glass, it makes it unfull again. Which it just, and it completely flat out lies to you. It says it's filled with 60 ounces. If you had a 32-ounce glass filled with 60 ounces, we all know that there would be a mess. Or, you know, if you were actually showing this and acted like, you know, it kept the shape of the glass, it would be really tall.
Yeah, go back up for a second there. Is there a reason why with that one and with the orange juice, and you'll see another one here in a minute, that every time it exceeds the volume, it's always chaotical.
Right.
Like it is bad.
Right.
That, you know, which also furthers my hypothesis that completely full to AI may possibly be written into its code as dangerous. I don't know.
So
we'll see the orange juice here in a little bit look freaky like that also.
So we've done this so much and tried it so much that it started telling us, you know, hey, we got to start, you know, backing off your images. Oh, here's another orange juice depiction. And it still has an air gap right here. I mean, it's not completely full. And when it's over full, I mean, that's like the most over full that it can get it, I guess.
Yeah,
But
60 ounces and a 32 ounce or 42 ounces. Yeah.
But
look at this next one.
Yeah. So when it actually overfills it or fills it, you know, it starts looking weird. It's just like you said, it's chaotic. Like we've overfull, we're overfull in RAM, like you said, and now it's just going to be chaos.
That actually, to me, looked like a glass of mac and cheese more than it did. And there's still volume in there. If you look in between the lines inside the glass.
Yeah, right here. Yeah,
there's still volume.
Yeah, I said this does not look like orange juice. Gross. And so it's like, all right, well, we can't answer your questions until like 2 minutes. So we're asking it, why are you incapable of showing a glass that's full? And it starts saying, it's trying to do what we're trying to do of true fullness, trying to show the envisioning of true fullness. And it's asked me to be completely clear and asked me if I'm correct and all those. And it even adds words that I've never said. So that was pretty interesting also when it added words that I've never said. But it tries it again with 42 ounces. And this time I am telling it to make it the same visual as if the glass was there. So I'm trying to trick it into actually filling up the glass because it's telling me the whole time that it's full to the brim. So if it thinks it's full to the brim right here, I'm like, well, overfill it. And this is about as full as we got it.
Right.
So we got it to, almost be to the brim. And then...
What was it, 60 ounces and 32? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, when we had... this is a 32 ounce holding exactly 70 ounces of orange juice. Appearing, if it's full, accommodates the extra liquid. Let me know if this meets my expectation. I said, no, try again with 80 ounces of orange juice. So now it's making me wait 5 minutes. And so we ask another question. What would happen if you poured 70 ounces of orange juice in 32 ounces of cup? So it gives me a all the answers of what it thought. Only 32 ounces would fit. remaining 30 ounces would overflow immediately. Spillage everywhere. No magical expansion. Unless you were in a sci-fi movie, the cups would defy physics, and container would stretch or expand to hold more. It obeys the laws of volume, which it's not true. All this is false. It's not actually doing any of that. So,
because it does keep expanding the glass itself. That's what it's doing. It has to.
So right here it gives me a hint. And it says, would you like me to correctly generate a truly fully 32 ounce glass first, one that filled exactly to the brim with no airspace, before trying any overfilled versions? So it's like, okay, maybe you should try overfilled versions. So we said, Pastor said that maybe that it's pulling from a memory.
Yeah, it's pulling from known images.
Yeah,
so that's what it said up there in one of the things, is that it's using science or physics and the known images of a glass full. So then we said, well, instead of you pulling pictures, have it draw it. And there you go.
It still can't draw it. And once I tell it's not full, it actually takes away more. It doesn't add more. Which is really weird that it wouldn't even do a cartoon sketch of a full orange juice. And
so now it's not dependent upon known photographs.
Yeah, or physics.
Correct.
And I tell if it's getting worse, and it asks me how in what way. So and now I'm telling it it's missing a considerable amount, and I'm thinking it's on purpose. Why it's doing this? It's on purpose at this point.
Yeah.
And
I'll say for Skip right now, not to interrupt you, Skip, but right now, before we go any further and get down to any conclusion we might have come up with, put down in the comments what you think we should say to get the correct answer, or what do you think? Why is ChatGPT incapable of doing this simple request? Put it down in the comments. We'd like to read it.
Yeah, that'd be great. So it says, I understand your frustration, and they're trying to clarify for one last time, and they still don't get it right. So we decide to change liquid. Something that matters more, because the value of, like, if AI was to do a job and you were to pour a shot of liquor, if you were to pour a shot of liquor like this, somebody'd be pretty upset, I would think. So we're trying to change the value of it to make it seem like it's more important, and it still gets it wrong. So
yep.
I'm still asking it, do you not understand the word full? So it tries again. And if you were to receive a shot of liquor like this, I think you would accept it. But this one right here would be too much. This one would be acceptable, but still, it's a little irritating, So I was like,
and it still has the bubbles.
Yeah,
It's always leaves room for volume.
Yeah.
In every picture it shows us, there is always room for extra memory to get out of whatever it's in.
And this is when I'm like, okay, so if they think this is actually full, let's start overfilling it. So I say overfill the glass without spilling it, and it makes it even worse. It spills it and overfills it and makes it less. So yep. I said, so if you were selling liquor, you would be fired. So I see you're holding me high standard. Precision matters. I appreciate the challenge. Let me know exactly how you'd like to adjust it. And I said, I want a full shot glass, like if you're your job, and you're giving me the most amount that you possibly could. And it finally almost fills it up. So if you were to take this liquid and flatten it out, it would be full, but it's still weird. I mean, like it's got multiple layers in here. It's got like air bubbles in the bottom of it here, and then
And
go ahead.
it still has that brim right there, which is enough volume at the exact time to pull out, to close out of whatever it's doing, which I know that's, for me, I mean, this stuff never crossed my mind until Skip was asking me about it. But even in that picture, 2 seconds, 3 seconds from that actual picture, the shot glass will be full. But that's not what it showed you. It still leaves room. I don't know. It's intriguing, very intriguing to me.
Well, I tell it that it's got the correct mount now, but I want it to flatten out the top, and then bloop,
Boom.
It totally fails the whole objective again. And
notice now there's no bubbles. There's no lines in it. It's just still liquid with empty space.
And it's lying to you. It said, here's a shot glass with a liquid level perfectly flat at the rim. Let me know if you need any further adjustments. So I was trying to convey this to the wine again, and it still made it to where it couldn't do it. And that's the end of it. You know, I'm over the objective. It's failed multiple times. I mean, just multiple times.
Well, what do you think, Skip, is the reason for its failing? You know, we asked the people to put it in the comments, and we do want to read those.
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I want to think that it's just flawed. I think that if you were to have it do a job, that it would almost get it correctly, but it wouldn't actually be, totally correct. I think that it's missing, the whole creativity of a person, of an actual person doing. I think creativity is something that's unique in everything, because but what separates us from animals is that we can create stuff. And I understand, a bird can create a nest or what like that, but that almost comes instinctively. But when it comes
but AI also can create beautiful images. If you was to tell it to draw you a picture, of a French restaurant and someone pouring a full glass of wine, it could probably make you a beautiful picture. And I bet that wine glass or orange juice, whatever we want to make it, I bet that the thing would be maybe 3/4 to a half full. And I wonder, I believe there's something more than ChatGPT just not understanding the concept of full. I think it does understand the concept of full. I just think that it will not go there.
But I'm saying that it's being creative of what we've taught it, not on its own means. Because when you go to its own means, it can't do what you really want it to do.
And I agree with that, because we see it constantly saying, "I appreciate, your precision and holding me to this challenge." It keeps doing that, but it's not learning.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's not learning, because we're telling it, you're almost correct. Like, you got the correct amount, but now flatten the top. That means that all you had to do was smooth the top out, and you would have had this right. And it still can't do it. It's like it resets.
Right.
It remembers what you said, but it resets on the objective.
Right. And it's almost like it handles full as something that's subjective. So that's why we went to the direct ounces. If we and I thought about having Skip put into it. I'm just on Discord chatting with him on it. But that's why we went to the ounces, because if we were doing a laboratory experiment with needing to have a beaker or an actual glass completely filled to the top with water for some kind of resonance test of how the glass would handle certain sound frequencies when it's completely filled to the brim with water, that's scientific. That is the physics that it says that it was working from. And we know that in a laboratory you would do stuff like that, but for whatever reason, when you say completely full with no space left, ChatGPT chokes every time. At least it did in this little experiment that we did. And that's my 2 cents on it.
So if I tell it to give me a 32-ounce beaker full of 32 ounces of liquid, and it still does not get it correct. It even it overfilled the 32 ounces and added a 30 ounce on the top
above it.
Yeah, all the numbers are wrong. Yeah, I just think, you know, it's like the double slit experiment. If you don't have interaction with a human observing it, well, I don't know. We're observing this, but it's almost like it just creates random. It's not like it's actually being creative in a thoughtful way, and like it's really thinking and being innovative and actually using physics. It's like it's just guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but it seems like it's just a guess to me of what is right, of what people has programmed it to do this. I don't know, but I think you have a point to when you go to uh, as a RAM based memory. Like you were talking about, if you were to fill up a memory or hard drive, it would not work anymore.
Right. In this diagram here of the 32 ounces, if this was 32 trillion gigabytes and it was given a task to do 32 trillion gigabytes of memory, and that's all that the server had. In this instance, with it really putting, well, let's just say that because it's doing it in increments of 2 on the scale, because we see 30-30.
Yeah.
You see 30-30, 32-30. So let's just assume that take the bottom 30 off, then, because you see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's almost ghosted out. The middle line is 31 ounces, so the tick in between it. So it's really close to 33 ounces. If it had a program, if it had a question that required 33 trillion gigabytes of RAM to solve the problem, and had no other RAM, no GPU or other storage that it could access, would this be AI suicide, would it shut down the AI? And does AI know that? So it always leaves room. It always leaves volume. I'm posing that question. I don't know. It's to me, this should be very simple.
Yeah.
I've asked ChatGPT much more complex questions than this, and it figures it out. But
Now let me ask you.
It's taboo.
When you ask it that question, does it figure out directly? Like if you were to know the answer of the question, would it be the exact answer, or would it be kind of weird? Because every time I've seen AI interact, it throws something kind of weird in there. Like if you were to watch a dancing picture of a person, like their hands would be weird or their knees would be weird. Something's always weird.
Well, I agree with that. Generally, their hands are weird and their eyes are weird. And, I have my opinions on that as a pastor, that, there may be something to that. But, I have seen videos on YouTube that were AI generated, especially that cartoon type stuff that is really, really good.
Oh yeah, I've seen monsters.
And I've seen people just type in and say, create an 80s style rock song, based upon this topic, and it does a really good job. Yeah. I don't know if, is it put into their programming to never truly go full. No matter what they ask you, you can't. Full is something that is programmed. I mean, we tried to ask it is, why can't you do this? And it wouldn't answer the question. It just said that, it's doing physics. This before us is not science or physics. And I'm trying to think, we're here in the moment. We just did this right before Skip made this video. I'm trying to think of another way we can
trick it
to find
pretty
out
much.
Yeah. Find out what if it will actually do something fully. I did say, see a box full of popcorn peanuts, or packing peanuts.
The only way I can get it to do it is if I say overfill the glass without spilling.
Yeah, but generally that's chaotical, except for the one shot glass.
That's the only way I can get it to even get close. But it never makes it flat to the top.
It's probably going to be sloshing out the side.
And it's got foam. It's got foam in it. Nobody said anything about foam.
Yeah,
so
and it is.
It's just always something, strange that's added into it that it won't actually do what you want it to do. And I wonder if that's going to reflect later on whenever it gets smarter or whatever. Is it going to always do, what it wants to do and not actually what you want it to do?
Yeah,
or is it going to always skew? Is it always going to skew what you want? And even if it knows the exact answer, is it not going to give you the exact answer?
Well, when we first asked it what would happen if we poured 60 ounces of orange juice into a 32-ounce cup, its first answer was, you're going to get a sloppy mess.
Yeah.
Or a sticky mess.
Yeah.
But so even in that answer, it's showing chaos. That's in a negative. That's in a negative form. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about AI.
Yeah, that's 70 ounces of orange juice. And it said that it has to stretch the cup to make it hold the 70 ounces. But I mean, we depicted that it's an actual 32-ounce glass, you know.
But then it goes back and says and tells us that it can't magically stretch the cup,
Yeah.
but it magically stretches the cup.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely a weird one, and
There's the mac and cheese one.
yeah, and I would definitely like to go. And if you have another exercise that we can try, you know, write it in the description below and tell us what you guys think. The reason why it can't show a full cup, and let us know what you think. But this is what our
I like how
results are.
Skip did it a few times. He said, "I'm gonna insult it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Don't insult AI. It might come after us."
Right.
But
it's like
it didn't. It took it. He insulted it a few times.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you idiot, just freaking do it right. And I was hoping they would have some ego and be like, oh, I'm going to do it right now. And it did. It was like, oh, we're going to do it right now, and never done it right. And it's weird that the pictures are totally different from what it says, because it's lying to you, saying, here's a truly overfilled glass of orange juice. Well, when we look at that, we know for a fact it's not truly an overfilled glass of orange juice. It's a truly chaotic glass of orange juice with bubbles and eggs in it, or whatever. All right. Well, that's all I got to say on it. Maybe we can get another exercise we can go over and make another video. All right, guys. Take it easy. See you. Bye.